Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Mary Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up in this week's top stories, in Taiwan, Tzu Chi Banqiao Grounds hold blessing ceremonies featuring a Taiwanese opera performance. As torrential rain has flooded parts of Malaysia and Myanmar, Tzu Chi volunteers respond accordingly to help survivors get back on their feet. And Tzu Chings in Australia and Tzu Chi volunteers in the U.S. both hold blessing ceremonies this lunar July. To ready the Tzu Chi Banqiao Grounds for 4 days of blessing ceremonies, which started on August 21st, Tzu Chi volunteers from Taipei were mobilized to decorate the venue days in advance. We have more of an in-depth report on the behind-the-scenes later. First, we get a look at day one of the blessing ceremony.
We need to frequently consume vegetarian meals as it helps to keep us healthy and beautiful.
Beautiful artworks by renowned artists are being sold at the blessing ceremony in Banqiao to help raise funds for the recent Kaohsiung disaster. Many of the artists involved were also invited to watch the performance.
Since there was a call to donate paintings, then as artists, we should heed that call.
This is a rare opportunity to do charity as well as share our talents. So we were quick to work with Tzu Chi.
A Taiwanese opera's adaptation of Follow the Buddha's bequeathed teachings is performed with 250 Dharma masters and other special guests in the audience. Watching the adaptation also helped to purify hearts and garner compassion.
Professor Bai donated 100 pieces of art. The money raised will go to Kaohsiung so that Tzu Chi's cycle of love can continue.
Looking forward to spreading the right ideals about the 7th lunar month, Tzu Chi volunteers relentlessly practice to get their performance just right. Meanwhile, days before the performance, Tzu Chi volunteers are braving the heat to install an atomizer system.
This is an outdoor atomizer because it will be hot outside.
Trained as an air conditioner technician, Li Yandian took on the atomizer project even though it's not his specialty.
I work with other brothers on this project. This atomizer is made of things from our everyday life.
The water misting system has two purposes. One is that it helps to decrease the temperature in the venue. The other is that when we set off the mist, it can help this place look like a gathering during the Buddha's era.
The black cloth being raised also serves multiple purposes.
Using the black cloth, we can block out some direct sunlight and rain, if it's not raining too hard. The exterior area will have an LED TV screen set up, so the cloth can also help the audience see the images better.
To ring in the celebration of Lunar July, Northern District Tzu Chi volunteers were mobilized and have been busy decorating the venue, with the prerequisite white ox cart being completed in no time.
I immediately started to work on it. I asked the other brothers to help me, and we spent 2 days on it. I am very grateful for all the help I have received.
Besides decorating the venue, in the kitchen, volunteers are cooking up a storm, with some of them starting preparations at 5 a.m.
We look at the audience as guests of our home, and we look forward to forming good affinities with them.
This performance of Follow the Buddha's bequeathed teachings is really special, so everyone has put in extra effort to ensure the event runs smoothly.
To successfully execute the performance, the Tzu Chi volunteers not only use their heart, but wisdom as well, as they make sure each detail is taken care of. On August 16th, young volunteers of the Jingsi Books and Cafe presented their final performance of the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Innumerable Meetings at the Banqiao Jingsi Hall in New Taipei City. After more than 2 months of rigorous rehearsals and a 108-day vegetarian diet, seeds of compassion have flourished in these young hearts.
Sunlight shines on the land, providing nourishment to the plants and trees. The animals roam around freely in the forest when suddenly a group of hunters appear. 9-year-old Li Jiaxin first vowed to become a vegetarian when he first took part in the performance when he was in the 1st grade, a commitment he has upheld until this day.
I vowed to be a vegetarian life after life, and when I grow up, I want to be a Tzu Ching and follow in the master's footsteps forever.
Because he is asthmatic, the doctor suggested that I give him chicken broth and just take out the meat. But I cut my hand every time I was preparing the chicken, so I eventually gave up on the idea. For the past 3 years, we've been accommodating him in going meatless.
9-year-old Zi Hong played the role of a great healer. Each action was portrayed perfectly.
I want to be a doctor because we can save many people and relieve them from suffering.
Taking on a 108-day vegetarian diet, these young ones also nurtured deep compassion in their hearts. Although curtains will eventually fall, the power of goodness, however, will continue to flourish. Pouring out bottles filled with coins, each filled coin bank is the culmination of the children's love. Shying away from the camera, 5-year-old Shen Yu adopted a vegetarian diet when he was 3, and the concept of helping others was deeply rooted in his heart at a young age.
I asked him what he would like for his birthday, and he told me that he wanted money. I asked him why, and he told me it is because he wants to save it in his bamboo coin bank.
Because I want to help other people.
When it comes to helping the less fortunate and fostering a heart of compassion for all sentient beings, even 7-year-old Jun Yu doesn't fall behind.
I will continue to be a vegetarian because animals feel pain when we kill them. I hope everyone will become a vegetarian as well.
Prior to the start of the performance, 500 young performers expressed their determination and vow out loud.
Erratic weather conditions and continuous heavy rains throughout August have triggered inundation in some areas in both Malaysia and Myanmar. For both incidents, Tzu Chi volunteers responded to the struggles of flood survivors with assistance and aid to help families get back on their feet.
Up ahead, roads have become rivers, hence volunteers take boats to get to the other side. Here in Bago, heavy rains throughout August have sparked floods in the region. A group of 87 Tzu Chi volunteers set out from Yangon to distribute aid to 131 families affected by the flood. Navigating through the rice paddy, what was originally a thatched cottage in the middle of the rice field, is completely engulfed by the rising water. For the past 7 years, Farmer Zorwin's field floods each time it rains.
These are rice stalks just floating on top of the water. I worry over this every year. I can only wait for the water to subside first and then make further plans.
As volunteers comfort Zorwin, they don't forget to hand over some rice, oil, soybeans, and emergency cash to address his immediate needs.
I never expected to receive help from someone unrelated to us.
The floods also claimed the lives of thousands of farm animals.
The flooding this year was more severe compared to the last. The entire pig shed was submerged in water. A mother pig was giving birth at the time, and 7 piglets drowned. Only 5 survived.
A survivor of Typhoon Nagas, this volunteer can relate to the flood survivors' pain and hardship.
I myself was once a flood survivor, so I will do what I can to help out. I put my work aside on the farm to come and volunteer.
Although the flood waters have yet to subside and the monsoon season not yet over, with volunteers by their side, however, these survivors will soon see the calm after the storm. Flood victims are in an emotional turmoil upon seeing the Tzu Chi volunteers who have come to survey the disaster.
We've lived here for more than 10 years. The first time we experienced such severe flooding was in March. It's worse this time around.
There are a total of 18 roads in Taman Imas community, with 2 of the roads situated on lower elevations. The recent downpour flooded almost every home.
The floodwaters rose very high to about here to the knee level. The house was also flooded. The water rose to about here, where the sofa is.
Receiving news of the flood, volunteers separated into teams to survey the disaster area, while another group mobilized to ready relief items for a distribution.
This is a bamboo coin bank for you. If you have any change to spare, you can make a wish and save it in your coin bank to help others in need in the future.
Volunteers personally visited each household to deliver aid and blessings, in the hope that these 40 families may soon find a way out of despair.
In the Philippines, faulty electrical wiring triggered a fire in a poor community of Pasig City. More than 50 residential homes were destroyed and 68 families affected. Fire survivors were evacuated to a nearby elementary school, and Tzu Chi volunteers arrived soon after with aid and blessings.
A large fire triggered by faulty electrical wiring has reduced these homes to nothing but ash. Families try to salvage what's left after the fire.
It's harder now. We don't know where to live and don't know where to get the materials to rebuild our home.
Fires are a common occurrence here in the poor communities of Pasig City. Tzu Chi volunteers arrived soon after at the local elementary school that has been designated as a temporary shelter. Soothing distressed hearts through a sign language song, volunteers help many regain their smiles. Next, volunteers and local residents come together to pray for a harmonious society and a world free from disasters. Tzu Chi's flood relief aims to help meet the immediate needs of these survivors.
The clothes we are wearing are all donations. The Tzu Chi volunteers came to help us even though we don't know them.
Providing 56 families with blankets, water, daily necessities and a 10-kilogram bag of rice, volunteers work to ensure that residents gain a semblance of hope to face the days ahead.
Winter aid distributions continue in South Africa as local Tzu Chi volunteers visited Johannesburg's largest black settlement to hand out relief supplies. With local Tzu Chings pitching in to help, it is evident that Tzu Chi's ideals are being passed on to the younger generation and thus continuing the cycle of love. In Johannesburg, South Africa, volunteers and recipients sing and dance to express their thanks before the aid distribution begins. Despite the winter temperatures, Tzu Chi's events are full of warmth. This particular winter aid distribution took place in Tembisa, the largest black settlement in northern Johannesburg, and a community that Tzu Chi volunteers have been a part of since 2005.
I'm so pleased as a commissioner of Tembisa to make all those schools 100% of them.
Although winter break for middle and elementary students was from the end of June to mid-July, winter aid distributions have continued due to the number of recipients. In total, 2,500 households from 10 schools received Tzu Chi's relief items, which included a scarf, earmuffs, stationery, and rice. Many local Tzu Chings also relished in the joy of giving.
Being part of Tzu Chi Foundation is a great opportunity because of now I'm starting to play a big role in my community. So far, I'm still looking forward to be with the Tzu Chi Foundation.
I started doing Tzu Chi work when I saw my mother and my brother every day coming home telling us their stories. I remember they told us I feel good volunteering with Tzu Chi.
Over the past 10 years, Tzu Chi volunteers have planted deep roots in Johannesburg and cultivated many new local volunteers and Tzu Chings ready to help spread Tzu Chi's ideals in their community.
We are not doing this for fun, but then we're showing our love around the world, and not only in South Africa or in our communities only.
Recently, Taiwan Tzu Chi volunteers jointly organized a blessing ceremony with the Rotary Club of Hualien. Meanwhile, in Taichung and Miaoli, Tzu Chi volunteers and participants came together to pray for those affected by Taiwan's recent tragedies. However, first, let's join volunteers in Malaysia's Kota Kinabalu, who encouraged the public to go meatless during lunar July.
Attracting the 300 local residents to the event is not the wide selection of vegetarian dishes being served, but a common belief.
By embracing a vegetarian diet, we are protecting the animals that would have otherwise been killed for their meat. It's not as if we don't have food to eat. We have plenty of alternatives. Why satisfy our appetite at the expense of animals' pain and suffering? I hope to become a long-term vegetarian one day.
Breaking the superstitions associated with the 7th lunar month, participants gain insight and wisdom through this entertaining short skit.
People think of this month as Ghost Month and burn just money to accumulate merit. However, Tzu Chi volunteers showed us that we can still accumulate merit without burning just money. I hope to influence more people to change their mindset.
We spoke about how we cultivate a few blessings and reap our own good fortune. This, however, also means we should be prepared when impermanence comes knocking.
We should be grateful that we have a healthy body, so we should use it to cultivate more fields of blessings.
From the Penghu plane crash to the series of underground gas explosions in Kaohsiung, these recent tragedies are a reminder to reflect on the impermanence of life. At a blessing ceremony held in Taichung's Holi, volunteers and participants come together to pray for those affected by these recent events. Meanwhile, at the blessing ceremony hosted by the Tzu Chi Miaoli Liaison Office, participants came together to ring a bell and pray for blessings.
We pray for the peace and safety of all of Taiwan.
With a heart of sincerity, participants pray for a world free of disasters, while volunteers encourage everyone to adopt a vegetarian diet. Dispelling unfounded folk beliefs and superstitions, by embracing the right beliefs, we can all find peace during the 7th lunar month. Giving the guests a warm welcome through song, Tzu Chi volunteers in the Rotary Club of Hualien teamed up to host a blessing ceremony. At the event, the environmental consequences of burning joss paper were clearly conveyed to the participants.
Burning joss paper will not only hurt the environment, it will impact our health as well. Many people may not know this, but when joss paper is burned, it releases toxic chemicals into the air.
Volunteers also gifted each participant with a bamboo coin bank in the hope that they will save the money originally intended to buy joss paper to help those in need.
We hope to instill the correct values of the auspicious 7th lunar month into our daily lives.
Happily leaving with a coin bank and peace charm in hand, volunteers hope that through their sharing, local residents will come to practice the right views and right beliefs in their daily lives.
More on blessing ceremonies, but in Washington of the United States, Seattle Tzu Chi volunteers use photos of disasters to encourage the public to do good deeds. Also in Melbourne, Australia, a group of Tzu Chings put on a sign language performance at the graduation ceremony of the University of Melbourne to promote vegetarianism.
At the graduation ceremony of the University of Melbourne, Tzu Chings put on a sign language performance to send out their blessings. Curious, passers-by take out their cameras to record. The performance is to highlight the significance of vegetarianism.
Tzu Tzu Chings here have organized a flash mob to help students of the University of Melbourne understand the benefits of a meatless diet. Since we happen to be visiting here, our students have come to watch and learn.
Local Tzu Chings will be providing meatless lunch boxes for 5 days to inspire more people on campus.
Well, I think being a vegetarian is really good. I think it's really good for your system, and compared to eating meat, I think you'll be able to digest it faster and you'll feel less tired throughout the day. So I really encourage people to be a vegetarian.
The way farmers raise animals is quite inhumane because they keep them in small cages. Going vegetarian not only helps save innocent lives, but also make you healthier.
Over in the United States, Seattle's Tzu Chi volunteers hope to inspire compassion by exhibiting photos of disasters. At the same time, in observance of the auspicious lunar month of July, volunteers are promoting vegetarianism.
69-year-old Tzu Chi volunteer Benny Setiawan is a successful Indonesian businessman who loved eating meat. This changed in 2010 when his wife was troubled when cooking chicken. Not long after, the couple began to question their meat-eating lifestyle and became vegetarians, a choice which eventually led to the couple working on behalf of their community's poor and needy.
This pair of hands took countless lives. While this mouth tastes all kinds of delicacies.
I used to eat all kinds of meat, such as reptiles, snakes, monkeys, and dogs. I witnessed monkeys screaming before being butchered, but I tried not to pay attention to it.
Indonesian businessman Benny Setiawan loved eating meat, and to satisfy this desire, his wife cooked various meat dishes as a loving gesture toward the family.
We usually prepare chicken for worship. One day, before I was putting a live chicken into the steamer, it began screaming out of fear. It was a disturbing experience.
The change of perspective turned the couple into vegetarians, as well as willing helpers in their community.
One day, I followed some Tzu Chi volunteers into the alleys to care for the poor. I had never been to those kind of places, and for the first time in my life, I saw how the poor and destitute lived.
Datang itu kan sama-sama kita punya nyawa ya, masa kita harus makan dia, ya kan dia juga punya mau hidup sampai sekarang sampai dia.
We end today's show with a large-scale concert held in Taichung, Taiwan, where the theme of the concert was to promote the concept of filial piety amongst children before it is too late. We will leave you with these images at the end of the show. Thank you for watching. See you next week.